today have enough evangelism in it? No, it didn't. Because I want to talk a little bit about church growth and how it grew. But I want to talk about it not from the sense of what humans did to make it grow, but how Jesus chose a certain culture, a certain time, the right place, the right time, and the right stuff in order for his church to grow. See, because the early church really starts here. It's in John 20. You know, John 20 is not one of those banner days for the guys because they were together. Well, in fact, let's look at John 20 in our Bibles. Am I the only one, or is it funny when, you know, like the younger guys get up to preach and they say, turn on your Bible or open your app? I still crack up a little bit, you know, when maybe no one else thinks that's funny. Okay, awesome. Jared was looking at me like, what's wrong with that? Nothing. Okay. John 20. I'm still in analog, so I still use the analog version. The good news is it doesn't run out of batteries, and I always know where to find stuff. Okay, amen. John 20:19. It says, on the evening of the first day of the week, when the disciples were together, with the doors locked for fear of Jewish leaders, Jesus came in and stood among them and said, "Peace be with you!" Exclamation point. After he said this, he showed them his hands and side. The disciples were overjoyed when they saw the Lord. You know, one of the things I always like to point out when it comes to the early church, you have to appreciate where it starts from. The early church does not start from a victorious beginning. I know we'll get to that here in the book of Acts, but right here, this is where the church starts. It's the guys in a room with the doors locked, and they're hiding out of fear. It's what I call the upper room syndrome. And this is what we're struck with anytime we're in a situation where all of a sudden we feel out of control and it doesn't seem like Jesus is winning anymore. It kind of seems like, Jesus and his followers seem to be on the losing end of this thing, and our tendency is to be like the guys. We're in a room, we're at least together, but we're locking people out. We're shutting it down. We're kind of hiding out, but we are at least together. And this is where Jesus decides to make an appearance. They're trapped together, but they're trapped by fear. And fear makes us weird. This is where we get insecure. This is when we start saying things like, why did the brother say it like that? I don't know why it had to be like that. I'm not sure why he kind of said, I said hi to him, but he didn't really say hi back to me in a way that I think he should have said hi to me. I mean, he kind of gave me a high five, but where's the hug, bro? Where's the love? We get weird. We're afraid. We're insecure. We're together, but we're really not in a position to do much of anything. Fear does weird things. Fear leads to insecurity. Many issues, it kind of shows that when we're in this situation, we have a lot of issues that need to be resolved. There's a lot of things that need to be tinkered with. These guys were like, Jesus is gone. I don't know what to do about that. I saw him die, and now the tomb is empty. I know he told us this would happen, but now that it happened, what's exposed is that I left him there. I abandoned my post. I didn't do what was right. I swore to him I would never leave him, and I ran. And Peter's like, you ran. I denied that I knew him 3 times. They got issues. They're a little stuck. And then Jesus shows up. Bam! Right in the middle. Right there. Did you see that? He wasn't there? I was there. Okay. I don't know. You can tell how old the slide is because how pixelated everything is. That's hilarious. Anyway, that's what you get for having me out. Amen. So how does Jesus respond to this? Well, obviously, his message to them is peace. Settle down. Peace be with you. And it's hard to interpret how that was said because it's said with an exclamation point. It's almost as if Jesus jumps out and goes, everyone! Scaring them half to death. But I do like the idea of what Jesus is trying to communicate. I know you guys are afraid. I know you're feeling insecure. I know there's no easy answers, and honestly, I'm not even going to try to answer them. But I'm here. Be at peace. It's okay. I'm here. Be at peace. I know you left. Don't be afraid. I'm here. Peter, I know you denied me, but I'm here. Be at peace. I love that. You know, and through a series of resurrection events, you know, we come to the Great Commission, which is, I think, the last one, or at least Matthew's summary of the last one. And I love how he introduces this last scene. Then the 11 disciples went to Galilee, to the mountain where Jesus had told them to go, which is the only time that Jesus gave them a resurrection appearance announcement. It's the only time he allowed Roland to come up and say, okay, here's what's going to happen next. You know, it's the only time that happens. I'm going to be at a mountain. I expect all of you to be there. Write that down on your planners. It's going to happen. So they're there, and when they saw him, they worshiped him, but some doubted. I love that. I love that it wasn't that they worshiped, it was that they doubted. I love how honest that is, because then Jesus' words actually mean more. The Great Commission is the response to doubting worshipers. They don't know what to do with the man before them. You know, they're not sure what to make of Jesus and his resurrection. They're not sure how to process what they've seen and what they experienced. You're not supposed to get up from a crucifixion. You're not supposed to be able to be lashed, nailed to a cross, dead, buried, and then show up on the third day. That's just not supposed to happen. I told you it was going to happen. I know, but you're not supposed to do that. God doesn't die. And yet you did. Can God die? Yes. So that he can live. Because if you're God, what is death anyway? Just something else to work through. No big. And then Jesus says, okay, I know you don't have me figured out. That's okay. Let me give you something you can do. Then Jesus said to them all authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I've commanded you. And surely I'm with you always to the very end of the age. So to a bunch of doubting worshipers, Jesus said, I don't have time to explain everything to you. Here's what I want you to do. Just go make disciples. Because in their world, that's the only thing they would have understood what to do next. Their culture got them ready to understand exactly what Jesus was asking for. See, our challenge is that we're way more comfortable with Jesus than we are with his process. In their day, they were way more comfortable with the process than they were with Jesus. Jesus always was taking them to places they didn't want to go. He was always teaching things that they're not sure they wanted to do. He was always calling them to believe things that they weren't sure they were allowed to believe. And now they had watched the man die and rise again, and they're like, I don't even know what to do with him. But I know what to do when it comes to making disciples. Right. We're on the other end of that. We're very familiar with Jesus. We read everything through his lens, but we're not really comfortable with the process. We're still a little confused about that. But I think if we study kind of their culture, their world, from an archaeological point of view, but also a material culture point of view, it starts to make a lot of sense that when Jesus said, go make disciples, that's one thing they all would have been secure in. Don't believe me? Take a look at this. Okay, so I'm about to walk you through history, and I know after lunch, that's exactly what you want to hear. Like, the man, I had 3 helpings of that soup today, just so I could hear history. Amen. Okay, so I want to kind of show you how the timeline of discipleship worked into the New Testament. Okay, so we have God's people here. This is the Jewish society. This is an outline that I kind of created for part of my dissertation. And this is Greek society. And so you'll notice that as the age of the prophets starts winding down, the prophets offer the last semblance of what they would have thought of as discipleship. Because all the prophets had what was called sons of the prophets. It was like a little school where the prophet was always within a community of people that were seeking God's will and God's word. Many of the prophets had servants. You shouldn't think of them like servants as in slaves. These were people that they were training. These were people that were there listening, drinking in. These are probably the ones that took the teachings of the prophets and gave us the books of the prophets. They all did that in community together. So when Jews think of Old Testament discipleship, that's who they think of. They think of Moses and Joshua. They think of Elijah and Elisha, and they think of the sons of the prophets, the school of prophets that they had. So as this era is coming to an end, and let's say it ends with Malachi right there, you'll notice that to the north across the Aegean Sea, the rise of the philosopher is starting to happen. And it starts with Socrates starting to break the mold of how philosophers operated. Socrates had an incredible impact on Greek culture because he was one who brought in this idea that a philosopher shouldn't be paid. A philosopher should have students, but they should walk on their free will. You know, he also had this idea that they should live together and eat together, a lot like when you read the prophets and their sons of the prophets, they were all together. And so Socrates kind of brings in this new level of training, this new level of teaching through this one-on-one, small community, shared meal kind of thing. Now, what ends up happening is that his disciples start to grow in fame. Plato and Aristotle, which I think everyone has probably heard of them, they start to take his teachings, and that starts to become the cultural norm over there. So philosophic discipleship is starting to become the way that all the Athenian youths are being trained. And then you have Alexander the Great. And what Alexander the Great does, he takes this template, this mindset, and he begins to take over the known world. He starts over there in the Aegean area and starts to work his way around all the way down into Israel and beyond into Babylon. And as he is conquering, he's not just taking with him this new way of warfare, he's also setting up schools in the areas that he conquers. Because he didn't want to just take over, he wanted to make them all Greek. And that's called the Hellenization. The Hellenization of the known world was his idea. I don't want to just conquer them and make them subject to me. I want to make their world better because he thought everyone should be Greek. And if you ever seen My Big Fat Greek Wedding, that's the way they still think. Everyone should be Greek. And so Alexander kind of takes that, and then of course Epicurus happened. Now I find it interesting that as the age of the prophets is ending, the rise of the philosopher is beginning. And then as we kind of go into this kind of no man's land of time, what we see both in Greek society and Jewish society, there is a strong emphasis on training the youth. There is a new educational push. And the Jews are starting to form schools of rabbinic thought. They're starting to form schools of deep teaching from their Torah. Meanwhile, on the other side, the Hellenistic side, the idea of a teacher walking with youths and training a small group of them is happening. And so that's on the educational front. But in this period of time, it's just becoming, this is the way you train for everything. If your family owned a farm and you were a herd, you had herds, well, you went through a time when you got educated, but at some time, mostly around 12, you stopped your formal education and you went to your vocation. And as you go into your vocation,